So, brother, the question you was about to say?
Can you elaborate? You mentioned language.
Yes.
Classes. Can
Yes.
you elaborate on the nature of the language?
What happened is this. Because we was raised in America for almost 400 years, we've been speaking English fluently. We think in English, we sing in English, you feel what I'm saying? We dream in English. So what happened is that when you don't know something, or you're studying a science, right? You have to learn their vocabulary because you're a captive. You're a descendant of captives in bondage. So whenever you say, well, what does this mean? Then you have to go to Webster for the definition. So this is what you call part of the spell. Because in ancient times, you were able to use higher portions of your brain where you were able to do certain things that people said, oh, they were called miracles in your Bible. They were so amazing and so miraculous, you know what I mean? So what happened is, because we're speaking their language, we can't channel our full brain capability. You know what I'm saying? So what our master teacher has done is that to bring us out of the English language, he had to give you what you want, which is religion. So you can want what he had to give, which is the actual facts. But what happened is, before he was able to give you back your ancient tongue, you were already trapped in the world of religion. Some people became Israelites, so they said, oh, Hebrew is the original language. This is the original language that Yahweh spoke. Then some people was Muslims, so they said, oh, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, first language is Arabia. You know what I mean? Then in Christianity, they said, oh, Greek. So no matter what school of thought that you study, everybody says that this was the first language. You feel me? So what happened is the master teacher started off with the Arabic language because this is what the school of Islam that we were under when we was Ansar law, Nubian, Islamic Hebrews. But over the years, he pulled back and started pulling a lot of the Arabic out of it, and we started going to a school called the Nubian Hebrew, which was the Hebraic school. Now, when you studied Ansar law doctrine back then, the Arabic and the Hebrew wasn't that much apart, that much different, because they were both of the same language, but they were different dialects. Because one of them came by way of Chaldea, or what you call ancient Babylon or Sumerian. And the Arabia would be ancient Babylonian mixed in with Egyptian heretics. You hear me? So then when he started going more into what you call the ancient, or you call it Wu-nuwaupu, the Wappic language first was created with Arabic sounds and tones and Hebraic sounds and tones in it because people were coming out of it. If people went straight into the Nepali language, people would never be able to pronounce the tones, or they would never be able to grasp how the pronunciation. So he walked everybody through the languages, and he kept updating the languages, and over time he kept updating it. So people say, well, he's changing it. It's not he's changing it, he's actually taking you back to it. You feel me? So when you hear a little Arabic inside the Wappic, or you hear a little Hebrew in Wappic, it wasn't that he was using Arabic and Hebrew to create the Wappic language. He was telling you that where the Hebrew and the Arabic language were getting their words from. And how it was coming out of the ancient Egyptian, ancient Nubia. You feel me? So now that you're into your right tones, you're able to activate your personal powers. The Caucasian has been benefiting off your spiritual energy for the last 400 years. This is why that every time when they invaded Africa, they couldn't defeat them even with the most primitive weapons. And they had the most advanced weapons against the Africans with spears and swords and so on. These guys got cannons and firearms, you know what I mean? But these guys were defeated in the Ghanaian wars, the Sudanese wars under Muhammad Ahmed, the Ghanaian wars under Pompey I and Ashantiwa, you feel me? Or different parts of Africa, they were not able to defeat the Africans because the Africans were in tune with nature and they spoke their natural language. That means they were protected by nature. You feel me? But what happened is, by you not speaking your original tone, the Caucasian benefits off of it because your spiritual powers are, or what you call your tones. Tones are what? Vibrations, frequencies that vibrate on certain levels. What happened is when you start vibrating on certain frequencies or tones of your oppressor, you empower them. And this is why it's always seen like the Caucasian is always successful, because he's using your own spiritual power against you. But once you start going back into your natural tones, things will start happening for you, and doors start opening up for you, and your ancestors will start working through you to make you successful.
That's why he used to say, to give praise and power to the worship.
To the worship?
Worship.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this is one of the reasons why it's so important to learn our tone.
So we're thinking harmony.
Exact, and harmony comes from the word what? Harmonics, which is dealing with frequencies and sounds. what I'm saying? Just like when you go to a white church, they got harmony, right? But when you go to a black church, they have a different form of harmony. The Caucasians sing, and we be like, ah! You know, it's like, and you feel the spirit, you know what I'm saying? But what happened is the Caucasians even defeated that purpose because even though they're moving on their own harmony, but they're still using their language. And they still have the perception of their ghost spirits. They'll tell you as an African, oh, you are ancestral worship. Okay, so what's the problem? Well, that's bad. I said, according to who? Well, according to me. I said, but that's your culture. You hear me? Because if you want me to convert to your culture, right? And I come into your culture, you don't want that to happen. Because I'm going to change your culture. Because I'm going to do it the way it fits my soul. You feel me? But then I'll be worshiping your ancestors. You said it's wrong for my ancestors, but when I come in there, I'm worshiping your dead ancestors that you call Moses, Muhammad, Jesus, Yahweh, Allah, Jehovah. You feel me? But when I was dealing with my ancestors, I was able to do miraculous things. How can you call me a pagan and a savage and I build pyramids and temples, aggregations and all different type of mathematics and astrology, right? But then you copy my stuff. But in your doctrine, you have none of this. What contributions have the Israelites? What contributions have the Christians? And what contributions have the Muslims attributed to science that we use in our everyday life? Hey, who has cell phones? Raise your hand. You don't get that from Christianity. Because Christianity don't have any type of mathematical equations on how to deal with mathematics. Same thing with the Jews and same thing with the Christians and Muslims. You feel me? So the question is, what have you done for us lately? Besides a promise of a special covenant of chosen people. What have you given to the world? Nothing. All you ran around is take over people's land and say, I'm special. And I'm God's chosen. So it's okay for me to abuse you. Because you are a goyim. What they call it? Goyim is a Gentile. But you have no science. Now you say that God heals you, right? So why do you go to hospitals when you get sick? Yeah, but I'm just saying that they said this inside the Bible, God have done so many these miraculous, miracles, right? Events, right? But as soon as the person gets sick and they say, well, your faith should be as strong as much as that of a mustard seed, you can move mountains, right? Why is it that Christians, Muslims, and Jews always talk about the spiritual and God healed me and stuff like that? Well, he should continue to keep healing you. Why is it that when you get a car accident and you survive, oh, Allah saved me, or Jesus saved me, or Yahweh saved me, right? You hear me? But then when you get a cold, why couldn't you ask him for the same thing that happened? Or the flu, or syphilis, or gonorrhea, or AIDS, or herpes, you feel me? All of a sudden you gotta go to the hospital and get some white magic, what they call white pills, or penicillin, or whatever, and take that and so to heal yourself. But according to ancient times, that will be witchcraft. Any type of medicine you put in your body, they will call that witchcraft. So you go to the witch doctor, the PhD, right, MD, right, to get a cure. Oh, I need you to help me. That's why they call it hospital, because it doesn't mean to cure you, it means to be nice to you. You know what I mean? So if you were using your ancient tones, you would be able to vibrate on certain frequencies and be in tune with your ancestors. But they taught you that it was wrong. You okay, man? Okay. Any other questions? You about to say something? Yeah, go ahead. You speak into the mic too when you go to it too. That way we can record it. Go ahead, sis. Don't be scared.
She got a list now.
Now, welcome back.
What? Is the mic on?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
on.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for having me back here.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I had to write these questions down, so basically I wrote 3. But my first question is, now next month is Black History Month, of course, supposedly. So, and I'm just curious to know. I mean, not just about Black History Month, period, but just history of Black people, and I mean, what should we do as Black people? So, this regards to the first question would be, do we have what it takes as Black people to come together?
No.
Why not?
Because you had to, in order to understand nature,
Okay.
you got to understand people. Look in this room, right? Do anybody in this room look the same to you? These are considered what you call African Americans. Do they
Okay.
look similar? Look at their features, though.
I mean, they have different features.
Okay, we'll stop right there. When you go to Korea or China or Japan, 9 out of 10, those people almost look similar. I'm not saying they all look exactly alike, but a majority of them look similar, right or wrong?
Right.
Now, because they don't mix outside their species too much,
Right.
we have been raped, bamboozled into mixing our seed with other species on the planet Earth. If you mix a lion with a tiger, they call it what? A leaguer. You ever heard that term before? Huh?
Leaguer.
Yeah, that's what a lion and a tiger. They two different. Those are two different cats, right? But a lion and a tiger are two different species of cats.
Right.
So what happened is, as our master teacher, your Bab Yanun, have taught us that there is 9 different species of Africans in Africa. And what happened is, each species stays in different regions, meaning that if I got Nubians right here, Amhars right here, Bantus right here, Zulus right here, Osas right here, Fangs right here, Akan right here, Wolof right here, Manding, Dogon, and Mandingo, and Fulanis right here, right? Those are, I'm not saying it, but those are different species of Africans, right? Because they have different features.
Exactly.
So when you go to those regions, right, in those countries, everybody have a similar look. So what happened is these species are not supposed to be together because they have a different nature. This is why lions attack cheetahs, even though they're cats, but they're of different species. You feel what I'm saying?
Okay, because now with you breaking it down, like, okay, different categories, like you got what they say, like the Negroids are located on the western part of Africa, right?
Uh-huh.
And then...
Negroes on all parts of Africa.
Right, but, you know, according to some facts, they say that the Negroes, like the dark-skinned African people will be on the western part. And then like the light-skinned color version, you know, people like my complexion or lighter, they will be over what would be called northeast of Africa.
No, I understand where you're coming with the light skin, right?
Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
You can be light skinned and be more African than somebody darker than you.
Right,
Because
okay.
it's the melanin is also in the blood.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? What happened is that when you look at the different regions around Africa, right? All the ports, the sea coast, don't go into the jungle area of Africa, right? All the ports have been taken over by Indo-Arabs. Morocco been taken over by Arabs. Tanzania, Mauritania, Libya, Egypt. They tried Sudan, but they couldn't penetrate. This is why they were trying to kill the people.
What about Somalia?
Somalia also have Indo-Arabs in it. If you notice that all these places have a light-skinned, straight-hair African, right? Because they took over those regions. They even worked their way down to South Africa, but they can't go in these areas right here because it's too tropical. Nature has made, like our master teacher has said, nature has made it possible for us to survive and be protected by nature because they have a mosquito that will kill the Caucasian with malaria. So they couldn't go into the tropical areas with all the, you know, with trees and stuff like that because it'll kill them. So if you notice that all the places they're going to are dry areas, desert areas like Somalia, Ethiopia, Eritrea, certain parts of Sudan, but they can't get in Sudan. You know what I mean? Egypt, Libya, Tunisia, Algeria. You know what I mean? So they work in the desert area because they don't have to worry about a mosquito because the mosquito doesn't work out there in that area.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned Liberia because now Liberia. Liberia. I'm sorry, Liberia. Oh, Liberia. Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned Liberia. No, you mentioned Libya. Okay, I meant Liberia.
Yeah.
Okay, now take Liberia for example. This country was nothing but it was just land over there.
Exactly, and a lot of Africans from Nigeria, different tribes.
I mean, but I thought African Americans, you know, African from Americas came over to that land and, you know, created their own civilization.
So you got to look at it like this. When America...
When they, you know, became free slaves.
Before the continental drift, right? That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, when they became free slaves, yeah, they came over to Africa.
Listen, a lot of those slaves were not from, see what happened is you gotta understand like this. Well, a lot of those slaves came back from America. These are different tribes. You hear me? That went to Liberia, and they call it, see, Liberia's not a tribe, it's just the name of the area. But you got different tribes. See, this is where the trick is at. When somebody say, are you Liberian? They say, yes. Then now here's the question. What's your tribe? Oh, I am a Fulani. Oh, you're not from Liberia. You're from Mali.
Right.
So if you ask a Malian, hey, what are you? I'm from Mali. Oh, what's your tribe? I'm Dogon. Oh, you must be from South Africa or Sudan because they're not originally from the area. So you gotta understand that everything came out of the Nile civilization, you hear me? And these tribes start migrating to the other side, you hear me? And then they start crossing over from what you call this side of Africa when they were connected to Americas. This is why you find similar features in ancient America in the Mayan temples, in Incas and Aztec temples of African featured people because they walked over here from here. They were called the Olmecs, you hear me? So what happened is these different species of Africans were nothing but tribes that kept migrating. Some of them are nomadic and some of them just were forced out of their land through wars. It's like, say like this. If you have a person that you don't like, there's no way that you could ever get along with, like, look, there's no way we can ever be cool, right? It's this written in the wall, right? And this person has real estate, and you got real estate. This person is buying up all the houses, and you buying up the houses. Guess what happens after a while? You're overlapping to their territory. Now y'all got beef, like why you living next to my house? And next thing you know, y'all fighting each other, you hear me? This is what happened in ancient Africa. This is what they call tribal wars. Had nothing to do with racism. It's just that this species did not get along with this species because they were of two different species. And what happened is, it depends on your food. If you eat, if you're expanding and you're reproducing at such a accelerated rate, that means that you're expanding your empire. And once your empire starts expanding, you start overlapping to other people's empire. During the time of Africa, you had the Songhai Empire that took over the top, which you call Nigeria, in certain areas, right? Then you had the Malian Empire. Then you had the Ghanaian Empire. Then you had the Zulu kingdom down here. Then you had the Egyptian Empire. Then you had this, the kingdom of Kush. So you had different empires going simultaneously in Africa at one time. And sometimes when these guys would start expanding, they will actually go to war with the other tribes. Meaning that they will kill the women and children, they will kill the males and then take the women and children as slaves and mix in with them. And then next you know, the children or the women will become of that part of that tribe. This is why when you go to Nigeria and you see a Hausa or a Yoruba, these guys have 5 different species, features. Even though they say, I'm Yoruba. Or even when you go to the Igbos, you might see different features of the Igbo. It's not like when you go back a couple hundred years ago, everybody looked almost similar. But now that you have people taking over other tribes or marrying outside of their tribes, like I might get what you say, oh, you look good. But then me and you might be different tribes. I might be Bassa and you might be Gribble. You hear me? But then you have a child with me, because I'm under a patriot mentality, right? That means that your child will actually become Bassa. Even though your child look exactly like you and look nothing like me. And then over generations, this is what happened. Because they pushed the woman back and didn't want to acknowledge the woman's mitochondrial DNA or the matriarch rule that the female was here first. So when the religions came into Africa of Islam and Christianity and Judaism, they pushed in patriotic rule. So they pushed the woman out and they started doing the bloodline through the male. Okay. And this is why you might find a Fulani Yoruba looking chick in the Yoruba tribe when she looked like a Fulani. You feel me? So the reason why we can't get along is because people don't understand species. But once you understand species, then you can be able to tolerate or deal with a person's mentality because you know what they're doing. Our master teacher has been doing this. That's why he called it United Nuwaupian Nation. Because we are different tribes under the original tribe that we migrated from out of the seas, which we call the Nubians. That you call the Bataites, the Cushites, or Havalites. You hear me? These were the original Ogdogs that came out of the water. What happened is other reptilians or different species of extraterrestrials came to Earth and mixed in with these Taites and created different hybrids or species of human beings on the planet Earth. And this is what happened when we start creating different species of Africans. You feel me? Okay. Some Africans might have this tribe or this extraterrestrial species. This tribe might be associated. Like I'll give you an example. Everybody know about the Dogons, right? They said the Dogons were in tune with who? The Nomos, which is a reptilian that came from Sirius B, right? Then you got the ancient Nubians and ancient Egyptians who said they are tied in from beings from Orion. You feel me? Certain Caucasians said they're tied in the beings that come from Pleiades. So these are different species that got sponsors from different star systems and different constellations that came here. In order for them to be able to survive here on this planet, they would have to mix in with the original being that was grown by the planet in order for them to survive here. So they create hybrids, what you call avatars, for them to incarnate into and able to walk amongst on this dimension.
So you call
Okay.
them avatars?
Yeah. The avatar is the Hindu word for incarnated beings. And I know Wu-Sabat language is the word manzal.
So when they did the movie, that was so to speak.
Exactly. The human being couldn't survive on Pandora, so they created a species and then put his consciousness into that Navi.
Okay, now I got a second.
And let me read this real quick. I want to finish your first question, because I know you're about to ask the second question, right?
Yeah.
I want to finish that question, though. And right here in the Holy Tab is on page 283. It says, this is also true in regards to the people. The Negroid and the Caucasian are unlike, so they will attract, right? This is done to integration in order to destroy the Nubians. For Nubians dealing with Nubians repel. Why? Because likes repel, and this causes fighting and separation. This is one of the reasons why Nubian people, descendants of the Nubians, can never come together to unite to overthrow the devil. So what happened is our master teacher had to come up with a new formula, which is he had to go back into the oldest doctrine on the planet Earth that was before the separation, and it was called Wu-nuwaupu. You know what I'm saying? Because Wu-nuwaupu was the universal information of nature. And once you understand nature of nature, then you understand why this person acts the way. Like you have sisters and brothers, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes they get on your nerves, sometimes you love them, right? Huh?
It happens.
Okay, but you tolerate them because you know them and you know how they are. What happened is when you come in a room full of Negroids, you don't understand each person's mentality, what they've been through, what's their background, and how they feeling ethically, physically, and genetically in their body. But you said because we're black, we'll come together. But then this person has a different agenda, and y'all in conflict. I don't agree with this person. I don't like this person. But then somebody said, well, I like him because everybody has different vibration. Our master teacher bring in the pataraks and the actual facts so he can use the information to bring us together. He's the only one on this planet who can do that. Because Zachariah Stitchin, Dr. Ben, and all these so-called scholars are giving you information, but they're not telling you how to unite. And they don't understand about different natures of human beings, so they say, well, anybody can read it, but then next you know, this person that you converted or taught your doctrine eventually try to take you out of your position of C because you don't understand that nature. It happens all the time. Farrakhan takes over Nation Islam, Wallace takes over the Nation Islam, somebody's a student, Clanton take over the Nation Islam. So everybody, you get a student that doesn't understand nature of nature, and then they don't understand their student because these guys are not masters. But the master knows, okay, I see where you're going. You ever watch the movies where they said, you're a good student, you're a bad student, so I don't give you all the techniques. Then this guy runs off and does evil acts with the knowledge he learned from his master. But the other student is the only one who defeated him because the master had to give him extra techniques or skills to take this one out because this guy using the information in the wrong way. But the master, because he's a master, understands the nature of his students or his disciples, so he knows what to teach them and what not to teach them. You understand what I'm saying? And this is why we cannot come up or get along together because we looking at it like, because you're black, we're back. And it's not like that because sometimes you might be dealing with a black person that has a Caucasian mentality. Even though they say, well, I'm black. Okay, well, I understand you're black. I can see that physically, but is your mind black? Is your mind African? Because you can sit here all day and talk about I'm a black man and you can be darker than me, but you might be the whitest dude on the planet. And you don't have to sound white and you don't have to act white. It's the mentality. It's like, example, you got a sellout and an Okotam, right? I mean, that's basically a sellout, right? And then you got a black Caucasian. What's the difference?
You tell me.
A sellout knows what he's doing. I'm gonna get close to Whitey so I can learn his tricks. I don't care about these jigaboos right here. He already know that he's a sellout. Like all your black, like Kanye West and Jay-Z are perfect example of sellouts because they were educated into knowledge before they even started doing record deals. Because if you listen to Jay-Z when he was a jazzo, he was kicking knowledge. You look at Kanye West on the first two albums, he's kicking knowledge. But then they went to another route. Now they kicking oh, Tom Ford and Gucci and you know the same stuff that you talked about before you got on. Now that you're on, you know what you're doing. But a black Caucasian don't know no better. Oh, you's a sellout, nigga. You racist bastard. And they still have on a Tommy Hilfiger. You hear me? Or Gucci one. But you call these guys racist, but you still rocking Louis Vuitton. You hear me? You know they racist. So it's like we're so caught up in the Caucasian society, our own people don't even know that they black Caucasians. No, they have a Caucasian mentality. Hey, my brother, you look just like my cousin from Africa. I ain't no goddamn African. I'm American. That's the Caucasian mentality. I ain't from no Africa. Some people even say, I'm glad the white man took us out of Africa because I would have been in Africa starving to death and getting bitten by mosquitoes and flies and stuff. You know that mentality, right?
Oh, I have heard.
Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. So you have other questions?
Okay, now my second question is...
Did I answer your first question?
Yes, you answered the first question very well, you know.
All right.
That was on point. My second question would be, what makes us dominant, powerful as a people?
You said what makes us powerful and dominant as a people?
Yeah, as far as black people concerned, what makes us dominant? Like how, because I've been hearing that, you know, the black race itself is the most dominant, powerful race.
Because we were first.
Okay. So now...
And we were part of the original creation of nine ether. Like what the Holy Tablet said, that we were created from nine ether conscious beings or conscious gases. Before we became a physical being, we were in the state of consciousness, a conscious gas that was the same gas that created the boundless universes, multiverses, omniverses. You know what I'm saying? Because nine ether is a combination of all gases in existence. We were that cream creation. You know what I mean? That triple state of darkness. And what happened is that when this dark energy and this dark matter starts slowing down in vibration, it gave birth to the universe and gave birth to the suns. So when they say you are the sun people, that means you are a part of the sun, because when you look at the DNA of an atom, you know what I'm saying, you have proton, neutrons, and electrons, and we usually look at how it goes around the nucleus, right? That's the same way as a solar system. That's why they say this is a solar what? Plex. The center, you hear me? Do like that. What do you feel?
I feel the heat.
Okay, and the heat comes from out your body. Your body's always at 98.6 degrees. You breathe in oxygen and give off carbon. When you take a match and light it, it needs oxygen for it to stay lit, and it gives off carbon dioxide. So where's that fire coming from? It's coming from the light in you, the sun people, the sun, your inner sun. You feel me? So when you're looking at the physical form of the Nubian black man, Ethiopian Nubian, you're looking at the creation of the universe in the physical form. You feel me? So you are a physical manifestation of the solar or suns or the dark matter, dark energy that manifested here in the physical form on this vibration.
Yeah.
That's what makes us special, because all other races or other species came out of us on this planet.
Yes. Okay. See, and I was going to ask a question that was addition to it, but I think you had answered with the first question. I was going to ask, well, if we are so dominant, then why we continue to allow ourselves to become inferior? And
because you have amnesia. Meaning that if you don't know who you are, anybody can run game on you. You hear me? Because you be like, I'm the sweetest person, but you don't know that this guy's a con artist, because you don't know who you are. This is why the black woman allows the black man, the white man, the oriental man to disrespect her body, because she doesn't know who she is. If the woman is a virgin, right? And the mother say, do not give it up until you get married. Woman say, well, that sounds good, but she don't understand what mama's saying. Because she's like, I'm hot and I'm feeling a certain way. You feel like Rich Homie Quan, I'm feeling a certain way. You feel me? And what happened is that guy might say certain things to her to make her feel a certain way, touch her to make her feel a certain way. And she's like, oh, I'm going to have to get this to him. You hear me? And then 20 years down the line, when you hit 40, 50, you be like, I hate niggas. I hate men. Because they abuse your body. Because you didn't know how precious that cave was. And all he did was just keep throwing his staff of life in there. You hear me? Wow. So what happened is when a woman started getting hip to it, like, these men don't care nothing about me, because it's all about my mind. All they care about is my physical composition. But you don't see that. And sometimes women equate lust for love. You feel me? And because you're not using your original mind or your whole mind as a goddess, you're being deceived by men because they use your own emotions against you. And the same thing, not just with women, it happens to men too. You know what I'm saying? Men get caught up into the lust and they disrespect their women because they don't know that that's your mother, your sister, your daughter, your aunt, your grandmother. You'll die for your mother. You'll protect your children, your daughter. You somebody up for your sister, but when it comes to your wife, you dog her. And she does more for you than any of them because she gives birth to who? Your children, your daughter, right? She cook, feed, whatever you need, that woman nature and submit and take care of you, right? But the black man will dog her, but he won't give the same respect that he gives his mother, sister, and daughter. You feel me? So it shows you that it's a messed up mentality. And what happened is when they took us out of Africa or Africa, we have been indoctrinated with their culture called Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. So our perspective is different. So we see things differently. We see it through the eyes of Caucasian. So when a man said, well, I'm getting another wife, oh, you wrong for that. You must don't love me. But that's our culture. But you've been indoctrinated with the European doctrine for so long, for 400 years, you can't see that. Or if a black man do certain things, like, I don't understand why you doing that. And he don't understand it either. But it's a part of his nature. But sometimes when it comes out, you disagree with it because your mind is already in the Caucasian state of mind. You feel me? And this is why black people can't unite sometimes, because this person can be pro-black and this person can be pro-white, even though they're both black. You feel me? And it's a conflict. Not only just with the race mentality, also with the genetics too, or the tribes.
Okay, and then I also want to ask you this last question.
Yeah.
Now, what would be the solution for black people and for humanity as a whole?
Okay.
Okay, start with what would be the solution for black people?
The solution will be mind your business. Is the first solution. You cannot come out of your culture and travel to somebody else's land and tell these people what they're doing is wrong according to their culture. They've been surviving for thousands of years, practicing into their natural nature. So who are you to go and say, I'm bringing democracy because I don't like the way y'all do things? You can't do that because you cannot take a lion as a cub, take it out of its natural inhabitant, bring it to America, and put it in a cage. You know what? He's so cute and adorable. I like the way he flips. I might show him a few tricks. I'm gonna show him how to jump through a hula hoop. Then I'm gonna show him how to jump through a hula hoop on fire. Then I'm gonna show him how to jump through over a bridge, right? So what happened is now you have taken this animal, this man-eating, destructive predator, right? Which was one of the most dangerous things in the jungle. You hear me? Mm-hmm. And turn it into a adoring domesticated pet or a performer. So one day when he decides to take a bite of his trainer, oh, that lion went crazy. No, he went back to being a lion. This is what happened to the black man in America. You ain't no good, you lazy son of a, bum, nigga, right? So then what happened? Over a couple years, you became what the white man said you are. Now you're out of your mind. He can't control you. So now you walk up and you sticking up just only black people, you killing white people too. So white men say, okay, you called us that name enough. Now that we became it, now we became your worst nightmare. Now you Trayvon Martin everybody. You hear me? Okay. It's not Trayvon Martin's fault. You walking around with a hoodie, but you made us into this thug. You said we were a bunch of no good thugs. Now we are the thug. Now you're scared of us. The cops are petrified. That's why the cops are shooting first and asking questions later. We didn't really have that much problems back in the day, but now they're like, what's that thing called when they can just shoot you? Stand your ground. Stand your ground, yeah. People like, the girl knocked on the door. She had no weapon, shot it, and the guy didn't get locked. Did he get locked up for that? I don't think he did he?
I don't think, because I ain't seen no more on CNN. They ain't really reporting.
You know what I'm saying? But people
like
are getting, right now, Caucasians are killing niggas dead because of how you dress, how you talk, and how you act. If I'm watching Miss Society and I'm a white man, they're like, wow, this movie is scary. You hear me? The next one, black comes up the door, oh no, pow, pow. And you shoot him like, I was standing in my garage. I was scared for my life. He looked like a thug. So that person has every justified mean to say, we understand what you mean. Because when you got shows like World Star Hip Hop, you know what I'm saying, Hip Hop 24, and they show you the stuff that we're doing to each other, of course you like, I gotta be careful. So now you got black people locking their doors in their car. When they see black people, like, we used to laugh at the white men for doing that back in the day. Remember that? What's wrong with these white people? Now niggas like, you hear me?
Won't even go to the hood.
Exactly. Oh, anytime a black person want to go to the hood, you know it's bad. You hear me? No, I don't go over there. I'm not going down with the bluff. You feel me? So That's did that answer your question, or you need a little bit
and
more
now
clarity?
what about humanity as a whole?
That's what I'm trying to get to. Everybody has a different nature. When you bring in a Hindu, they have a culture and they have a nature, right? When you bring a Caucasian, they have a culture, they have a nature. When you bring the African, they have a culture, they have a nature. When you bring the Oriental, they have a culture and a nature, right? Meaning that these people are from different extraterrestrials that come from different planets. The way they do things ain't the way you do things. So you might look at their way as, I don't like it. I'm not comfortable with your way of life. So to them, they're disagreeable to you because you disagree with their culture. And to you, I'm not comfortable with your culture either. I don't like the way you do things. So you become disagreeable to them. Their culture, it's no good or bad. It's just that I don't like your culture.
Right.
I'm not feeling you. So the only way you can deal with a universal doctrine is that you have to acknowledge who you are. Wu-nuwaupu teaches you of who in every different species is on this planet. If it says this about the Hindu, this is what you are. Accept it. If you accept it, then you can become a Nuwaupian. If you says this about the Caucasian, you have to accept your nature, right? But you can become a Nuwaupian. And that goes with Nuwaupians also. It's a nature. See, Wu-nuwaupu show you the formula on how to acknowledge your nature. And once you acknowledge your nature, this is how you control it. And this is where humanity can come together under Wu-nuwaupu. You hear me? You know what I'm saying? Say it again? Because you got to respect people for what they are. Just because a person is disagreeable don't mean that they're a bad person. They're just a disagreeable to your nature. When you know how a person is, you say, you know what, that's just how he is. Oh, that's just Ray Ray. You hear me? What's wrong with that? That's just Ray, that's just how he is. But you already accepted that person for what it is. This is how you respect people. People don't know how to respect people, and this is why you have so much racism and prejudice in humanity. It's not just it's not a species thing, a race thing. It's a human thing. And this is why people are the way they are. And then when you got the religious doctrine to go on top of that, it makes it even worse. Because people are using a belief system to separate us. Proof is right. Well, it's my belief. I said, but your belief means that you accept it without proof. But now you're trying to push it on me. Do you really want us to become Hebrews? We've been, all these schools, that these people that we talk about, we lived it. So people say, well, y'all need to be back to Moor. I said, you don't want us to become Moors. We'll take over your stuff. We're too smart. It's not our fault. This is the way our master taught us. They didn't understand. He's a master teacher. So when we were Moors, we were dominating their culture. When we were Muslims, we were dominating their culture. When we were Hebrew Jews, we were dominating their culture. So when people try to battle the Nuwaupians, debate with us, right? I said, okay, what if we say, yeah, you know what, you won. We'll follow you. Do you really want the Nuwaupians to be in your organization? We will cause problems for you. Because you know why we'll cause problems?
Wow.
We ask questions. Well, why you do this?
Nothing wrong with that.
Why you do? No, I'm talking about to them. If I ask hey, Rabbi, why you call yourself Rabbi? And what is Yom Kippur? And why did you do Passover? And we'll ask them certain questions. And why do you wear this, that? Oh, I can't answer that. Only God says, why are you trying to teach me then? So when I was with York, I knew everything. He told me everything. So I know more than you. You need to step down. Let me be the rabbi. Same thing with Islam. Muslims hated us. They didn't hate us because of what we were. They hated us for what was coming out of our mouth. We were better Muslims than the Sunnis. You didn't want us to be a part of the Sunni Islam. We'll take over your stuff. Do you really want the Nuwaupians to be Muslims again? We'll take over your stuff. And we'll become your imams. Then you got a Nuwaupian imam teaching you by way of Dr. Malachi York. And that goes with any Masons. They didn't like us either. Because we'll take over your stuff. And they know this. You know why? Because we are the children under the Daro and we take what we want. This is what the white man Edith had a problem with us about. Because he knew that we were here first. So I want my stuff back. Oh, that quote in the Bible about the Hebrews, that's mine. I'm going to get that back. No, let me get that back. That's mine. You can keep the other crap. I want that back. Because I know that came out of Egypt. Oh, that Christian about our Father who art in heaven, you know, that's mine too. I'm going to need that back. You know what I'm saying? Oh, no. That's mine, the 99? Oh, no. I'm going to take that. Let me get that back. Because it ain't yours. That's mine. You hear me? So we taking our stuff back out of their religious culture. This is why when the master teacher breaks down these scriptures and type at the ancient Egypt, it was ours anyway. These guys are creating doctrines that come from us anyway. So you don't want us in your organization. You can try to convert us all you want. We'll cause you a problem. There's only one person that can handle the Nuwaupians, and that's Malachi York, because he's the one who taught us. Nobody else. Farrakhan, Yahweh Ben Yahweh, who's the guy? Dr. Ben. They can't handle us. How they gonna deal with us? And Doc have a hard time dealing with us. And he's the master of the heaven and earth. You feel me? Any other questions? Any other questions?
I'm gonna let this gentleman
All right.
behind me ask some questions.
All right.
I'll come back later.
All right, these are questions.
Yeah.
People who are watching on YouTube.
Yeah.
This one is from somebody named J Money One, and he has 3 questions. The first one is he wants to know what's the difference between the Nadu and the Anunnaki.
You said what's the difference between the Nadu and Anunnaki? Let me see. I didn't answer the question so many different times. Do he watch the updates?
I don't know. He might have missed that class because we got so many of these classes on YouTube.
What happened is this. Let me go to the book. I don't have, oh, yeah, as a matter of fact, I have it here. I always got like reading from. I don't know how many times I read this introduction, right? Before time, as you know, it was logged. Beings existed in and out of this dimension. Worlds existed. Planets were inhabited by intelligent and not so intelligent beings, who all lived in their own time zone, based on their location in this vast, boundless universe.
Where you reading that from?
Oh, this is from the introduction to the Black Book.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. Each place in itself, the place or origin of time, as in the word thing, which became past and present simultaneously. These agreeable and disagreeable beings, this was a system that was very similar to that presently on Earth, called the chains of existence that existed. Whereas stars burnt out, planets died, and beings had to seek residence in other star systems. Oftentimes, we redeveloped new survival tactics, eating habits, and even genetic alterations and manipulations to make it possible for us to exist in environments unsuited for our biological existence. We oftentimes had to alter environments, create climates and seasons. Oftentimes, the survival of one being meant the extinction of another. One of these such star systems was Riss, and a planet in the 19th galaxy, the 8th planet of 3-sun system, which was inhabited by the Riskians, also called Natharu. The 3 sons of this planet Riss were known in time by different names, the most common being Atum, Atun, and Amun, referred to as Re or Ra, rays. The Sumerian called them Utu, Apsu, and Shemis. When this planet Riss was visited by disagreeable beings from a dying star, they were welcomed into this great empire. Those that welcomed them were called Natharu. The Sumerian called them Anutu. In time, I'm going to skip right here. I'm going to go to something else. Hold on, I might as well just read it anyway. The Council of 9 Enneads of pre-dynastic periods, before man was called man, these deities met with open arms, and they passed our decision on to the 24 elders of Riss, who passed it on to the 144 governors of the 18th and 19th galaxy, 72 governors of the disagreeable 18th galaxy, and 72 governors of the agreeable 19th galaxy. Though it was agreed to share one of these 3 continents of the planet Riss with these beings in distress. Riss had 3 continents called Zarantu, Darakina, and Kamusta. These discrete beings were only allowed to live on the continent called Darakina. In time, these discrete beings had decided they wished to rule the whole planet and even the whole galaxy under one such being called Tarnush. Now, those beings were the Anunnaki.
Which one?
The ones that came for shelter. Because their planet died out. The beings that opened their arms to them were called Riskians. They were the natives. What happened is these beings came from the Draco star constellation.
The refugees?
Yes. And what happened is they took over the continent called Darakina. Now, if I'm a ruler of different star systems, right? Because as you read a little bit further, right? It says right there, under one such being called Tarnush, who ruled a variety of star systems such as Dracos, Aldebaran, Betelgeuse, Pleiades, Andromeda, and others, all on this side of the Milky Way. So this guy right here runs what?
Galaxies.
places, right? Exactly. That means he's the what? The most high of that.
Those galaxies.
Exactly. But he lives on this planet. So the master teacher said years ago, it depends on who's telling the story. So when he wrote the Holy Tablets, we was in the school of Sumeria, or the Sumerian doctrine, or the Anunnaki doctrine, right? Because that was one side of the spectrum, right? And what happened is, in that book, he was talking about the Sumerian perspective of the Most High, right?
Okay.
And these beings were draconians. They were reptiles. You know what I'm saying? And they lived on a continent. So Anu would say he never said he was the ruler of risk. He said he was the Most High. You hear me? That means he was the Most High of his what? Kingdom. But he was ruling his kingdom from a continent on another planet called Donakina that the Riskians gave them as shelter. You feel me? But the natives were their own rulers. You hear me? So what happened is these Anunnaki were the ones that helped build the ship called Nibiru. Nibiru's, when the planet Risk went to a self-destructing from the ozone layer being attacked, hit by Tarnush or Alelu, that caused the ozone to deteriorate. So these Anunnaki and these native Riskians, and these other species of reptilian, species of extraterrestrials that lived on Risk, had to evacuate. Some didn't want to leave, so they died on the planet from the three suns hitting them. You hear me? Some of them went to Pleiades, some of them went to Aldebarans, Betelgeuse, Orion, Sirius, right? Nirvana or Procyon. You hear me?
Right.
And some of these native Riskians went to these same places, like Taurus and Pleiades and Aldebaran and so on, and Orion and Sirius, right? But they were attacked by a hybrid that was created by these Anunnaki and these Pleiadians that came from Aldebaran. And what happened is the natives that crashed down into what you call Earth were in the area that you call the Nile civilization of Africa. You hear me?
Which one was this?
Those were the Nadaru. These were the wool-head, 9 foot, 7 foot tall, woolly head beings. You hear me?
Riskians?
The original native Riskians. Okay. You hear me? Then you had the Anunnaki, who were reptilians, but were also able to shapeshift from a Caucasian feature to a black feature, because they learned that from the Pleiadians, and also they learned it from the Riskians. You know what I'm saying? On how to shapeshift. All dealing with the changing the molecules or the corpuscles in your body, able to change different forms. They were able to imitate what they saw. This is what the master teacher said in one of the updates. You know what I'm saying? So the Anunnaki were the Unshum-Gao.
So they were the one that came down in Sumer?
Yes, exactly. And created their own Shimti, or their Garden of Eden, where they was conducting experiments. This is why they were going to Africa, kidnapping the Kushite women and the Dogon women, right? Bringing them back to Mesopotamia, and was creating different species of hybrids from out of these Africans. And was also had them into slave labor. This is why when they escaped it, they sent an African actor named Sargon II, aka Nimrod, aka Adafa Enoch, aka Namir I, to capture them. That's why they said Nimrod was a mighty hunter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And was it that Genesis chapter 11, if I'm not mistaken? You know what I'm saying? We talk about Nimrod, or I think so. You know what I'm saying? And what happened is Nimrod will capture these Africans and bring them back to Enlil.
Okay.
So that was to be the difference between the Anunnaki and the Ntharo. One was a Sumerian of the Shum-Gao, and the other one was of Africa of native. So both of them were Riskians, but one was the Ntharo was the native Riskians, and the Anunnaki were
refugees.
The refugees. And the word Anunnaki is not a title, it's an event. Meaning these are the beings that Anu sent to Earth in 50. So that means the 50 could be Shaggies, Marcabians, Zeta Reticulans, Andromedans, Pleiadians, Aldebarans, Ashtar Commands. It could be, because they had a federation, you feel me? So it can be different species of extraterrestrials that was under Anu's rule.
Okay, you answered that. That was
Yeah.
good. Okay.
Did I answer the question?
Yes.
Okay.
The second question he wants to know is about the reptilians. He said, which ones are agreeable to Nagarus? You know, which ones aren't?
You said which ones are?
Which one are
The
agreeable-
Maganu.
Which one are agreeable to the Nagaru and which one aren't? I guess.
The Maganu are the ones that Id came from under. She was of the dragon race that occupied the Nile civilization area, right? We call them the Ogdogs.
Okay.
Or the beings that came from the water. And not to say they were Ogdogs, but they were part of that creation. Because what happened is that these Riskians needed to come to this planet to survive, so they had to genetically create a hybrid body so they can incarnate into this avatar in order for them to survive on this planet. So they had to create a suit, an earth suit. what you call human form. You know what I'm saying? But what happened is, because if the planet was 75% water, they had to create the being that was most suited for this planet, which is a aquatic, amphibian type of being. You hear me? And what happened is, when this amphibian being came from out of the waters onto land, it became a reptile. And then this eventually evolved into what you call a mammal. So they put their genetics on the hard gene and let you know that this being was going to eventually evolve into something else. But what happened is, because it was homegrown by the planet Earth, by this DNA fusion with the planet Earth, it created a new being, Nubun, you know what I'm saying? Or you call it a Batai. And what happened is, these different other beings were mixing in with them. There were other beings that were there that recognized who they were and was able to coincide with them. They were called Magano, or what you call the dragon race that came from Meldak. These were a species of reptilian, but they were of agreeable nature. You know what I'm saying? But then you had the other ones that were from Meldak that was the troglodytes. You know what I'm saying? And these were the ones that's in the Bermuda Triangle, or what you call Mu and Atlantis, that live under. And these beings are flesh eaters. They eat humans. Their whole thing is to enslave human beings, you know what I'm saying, and use them for food. Then you had the Nomos, who were also disagreeable, who took advantage of the Dogon tribe while they were in Mali, you know what I'm saying, and mixed in with them and was trying to use them to try to capture the Rumardians, who was in that area at the same time, so they can enslave the Rumardians and also use them for their bidding. You know what I'm saying, to seek out more food for them throughout the different universes and galaxies and constellations.
Okay. All right. And,
Did I answer that question?
Yeah.
But you have a lot of different species of reptilians that's not in our best interest.
Okay. Okay, here's another question. He wants to know.
And this is the same tribe, the same species of reptilian that Inky's, one part of Inky's a part of. Yes, Inky's actually half serpent and half draconian. See, what a lot of people don't understand is they thought Inky was a half and half. What they thought of her skin was, Inky was half of the Unshimgao and half Magano, which is the dragon race that came from Maldak. But also the serpent race, or the Uchigal, also came from Meldak, but what happened is a lot of them guys went to Aldebaran or Andromeda with the Andromedans and mixed in with them, and some of them started eating flesh and became more flesh hungry, or they started devolving. And they lust for flesh, it became even stronger, the craving for it, yes.
Have you seen the movie, We Are What We Are?
What is that? I never heard
It's
of
a group of people in the mountains of, what's that, Virginia? It's a family. What was that disease? Parkinson's disease.
it. Yeah,
They live on flesh. They eat
Yeah.
people.
never heard of that one. I'm gonna have to look into that.
And it just came out in 2013. We are who we are.
Yeah.
They can't help themselves. They
Movie's
grow up,
called
they
We
go to
Are Who
school,
We
they
Are?
look just like
Yeah.
other humans.
Okay.
But their nature, something happened. They start bleeding. They have.
Oh, these are Caucasians?
Yeah, these are all.
They're probably hemophiliacs. You gotta remember that. Message said years ago in a book called Pale Man, Sons of Canaan, that these guys don't have enough plasma in their blood to clot. So what happened? They constantly need blood transfusion, or they need blood. This is why Caucasians are dating these dark-skinned women with natural hair, because they know they keep themselves up with good diets, so they need the blood from the Nagaru in order for them to survive.
That's the
Yeah.
way they can survive.
Okay, his other question
Like,
is,
say
Yeah.
50 years ago.
Yeah.
Say that 50 years ago, every black man, black woman in this country would have stayed to themselves and wanted to mix their.
Oh, that wasn't going to happen.
I
Wait a
mean,
minute. Yeah, I mean, it was. They would not be. They wouldn't
be
cease to
around.
exist. Like Master T said, we all. Matter of fact, Master T said we were all mixing them right now. The next generation, they be gone.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's, oh boy.
Yeah. Go ahead. Next question.
he wants to know if Inky and Tar are the same person, or are they different?
No, they're not the same person. They're equal in power, but they're not the same being. You know what I'm saying? You got to remember that these beings was on the same level of what they were doing. Tar was a scientist, Inky was a scientist. Tar bred a being, Inky bred a being. Tar's a royalty, Inky's a royalty. Tar had a brother, and Inky had a brother. Rivalry, you feel me? So it seemed like there was similarities, but it was like there was not. If you look at a book on our actual fact called 18 plus 18, what's that, 18 equal 1? Is that right?
The mitochondria.
Yeah, 18 plus 18 plus 1 equals 37, which is positive number, actual fact. Number 22, where it says, can somebody pass me one of those real quick?
Okay, when you talk about Inky, it was Inky and what was his brother?
Ptah.
Ptah. Okay.
Inky and Ptah were not one and the same, but they were equal in power, as our master teacher said in one of the updates. But what happened is Inky came from Mesopotamia, right? Because they couldn't get the Caucasian gene to stick. Right here, let me see, it's on page 79, number 170. All these interceptions account for 18 plus 18 plus 1, or 37 genes of mitochondrial DNA. 37 of your genes, your gateway to transformation. Now, the initial approach of the Anunnaki, Nehershak, or Niti, sister of Inky and Enlil, and daughter of Anu, was to break up the chromosomes into pieces of DNA, inject those pieces into the cell, and then search for the ones that could replicate unaided. Because what happened every time they actually replicated, the leprosy of the Caucasian race that was put in them by the Pleiadian was taken over. So they couldn't put their genetics inside of these beings. You know what I'm saying? So, however, there was a problem because of the disease genes of the Kakasu. Any DNA pieces that she injected immediately infiltrated and hijacked the replication center. So Inky with Ptah of Pa Nataru in Africa came with a solution. Ptah knew that the circular pieces of DNA cannot hop onto chromosomes because they have no sticky end. So he can seal the Hershey pieces of DNA inside a circular structure. That plan worked immediately. Inky found pieces of DNA that could replicate under their own steam, then make the DNA piece big enough. Nearly any DNA piece larger than 9,000 base pair is able to replicate. The Inky of the Anunnaki did his part as the Ninti or the Hershey made the mistake. Once done, they gave it to Kamau, which is the Pleiadians. So now they had the blueprint and also inserted artificial structural protein in the bacterial DNA. So meaning that Inky and them got the formula from the Nadaru in order for them to keep producing food for themselves through the Caucasian white man. The white man don't hate you because of your complexion. The white man hates you because you're not on the menu.
Okay, so Inky would be a Nadaru and
Food for the gods.
No, Inky is a Anunnaki.
and Ta is a Nadaru.
A Nadaru, yes.
Okay.
And you talk about two different Riskins. One is native descendant and the other one is a reptilian Unchugal Riskin descendant. But Inky is actually a combination of both, the snake people of the Unchumgal, the reptilian and the dragon race.
Okay. Okay, I have another question from a person.
And this is why Ilo had a problem with Inky, because Inky went and mixed in with two African women of the Nadaru, and he wasn't supposed to. Because they wanted to keep their bloodline, their divine, pure, their seed. It's like racism. I don't want you mixing in with them.
Okay.
Because I won't recognize that gene no more.
All right. This person named X Light Harris wants to know, what does the double Ankh mean?
The double unctwi? Oh boy. Our master teacher broke down that in 1970 the seven seals were open. This is when the vortex was open, right? And in the book of Revelation it said that the heaven stood still for 1 hour. 1 hour consists of what? 60 minutes. He said from 1970 to the year 2000 was the first 30 minutes. That's why the master teacher, I had to walk you on a long journey on a short path. Because we was in the age of Pisces, which is the moon doctrine. The moon, which is the water doctrine. Everything is done by what? Baptism of water. A shahada, a baptism, bar mitzvah, whatever. It goes and deals with water, you feel me? And what happened is these were ruled for 6,000 years in the moon cycle by the Caucasian race. This was their rulership, right? 2000 was the end of their rule. From 2000 to 2030 will be the other 30 minutes of a half an hour. In the year 2000, we came out of the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. So we out of one age into the new age, which is the age of Ptah or the age of Aquarius. You hear me? The 6,000 year rule of the Caucasian is up at the year 2000. This is why you look at worldwide, they're losing power. They're not respected. They're killing each other. Nobody trusts them no more. Nobody wants to do business. China, Russia, different countries. We don't want to deal business with you. You're dirty. The Arab nation don't want nothing to do with them because they're deceptive. They use everybody and they have nothing. They have nothing to offer nobody, but they take everybody else's stuff to sell it to other people. And people have finally got hip to it. So their rule is up, but they're trying to fight so hard to seem like they're in power. So when you look at the second Ankh, that's dealing with the hereafter, the 30 minutes. The first dealing with the 30. The second one will deal with the other half an hour. We're in the hereafter doctrine. This is why when we came out of Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, all these different schools, we went back into AEO, and now we're into the New Age, and with the hereafter doctrine will be the actual facts in the Pataraks. And the jewel in the middle represents the soul.
Now, tell me,
Did that answer your question?
Tua.
Yeah.
is it true that our ignorance,
Can you go to the mic?
yeah,
Can you go to the mic so I can hear you better? Can we record this for class so our viewers out there can hear it?
is it true that our ignorance and lack of knowledge
Yeah.
is the reason why the Caucasians are still ruling
Yes.
right now?
Yes.
Now, if we could come into the realization of our true knowledge, our true self,
Yes.
and start living to, for, and by
Yeah.
each other, establishing our own, where